Boys, I think Way of the Wraith is a super you need to be trying out right now. It recently got a buff with Sandbox Update 2.1. We essentially got an increased melee lunge range of all of our attacks. We also got a reduction in the cost of our light melee attacks. They did increase the number of consecutive hits required to speed up the attack rate, but in doing so, Bungie stated that decreasing the base attack speed actually improves hit registration on the intended targets. Now, some other little things that they mentioned, they also retuned melee targeting to have a greater emphasis on player input. And that's not just affected by the direction your camera is facing, but actually by the input of your analog sticks. I noticed this today though because I was snagging targets that I know were like next to me or beside me that I was not facing. They also went on to say that they increased the viability of stealth mechanics. They added a small amount of damage resistance to stealth state, and they also further decrease the super drain when in stealth state. Now, the gameplay you see today is actually a mix of Dragon Shadow and Stompies. Unfortunately, I don't have Gwizin's Vest yet, which would make this even nastier. I will say those that do have Gwizin's Vest, be looking out for it next week. It is going to be getting retuned, possibly slightly nerfed. Somebody commented on Reddit earlier and said that any news on Gwizin's Vest fell into proc after 5 orbs had been generated. DMG went on to state that it is a known issue, as well as the ability to lengthen duration without kills, meaning the super duration. Both planned to be addressed next week. Now let's talk about the super. Is it better? Yes, absolutely. It is way more consistent. They said that they slightly gave us a small amount of damage resistance when we're in our stealth state. It's a noticeable difference. There was many times I should have been gunned down and I wasn't because of being in that stealth state. Now, first up, let's walk through this super one more time. Spectral Blades is you summon that pair of deadly void blades and you stalk the battlefield in a veil of shadows. You can perform a quick melee attack, but you can also perform a heavy attack. And during performing that heavy attack, you also vanish again from sight. Now, the heavy attack is really good for a lot of things. Number one, it does more damage. Number two, though, a lot of enemies tend to go straight up in the air. They've been getting away from people popping spectral blades like that for a while, where people just take to the air, get above you, and just shoot down upon you. The amount of hit registration that we have with this heavy attack, especially when opponents are really high in the air, is so good. I mean, as you see from some of the hits here, guys, I am not making contact with these guys, but it's still giving me the kill. It's contact enough. So in terms of hit registration for the heavy attack, very good. Now, the light melee attack does what it's supposed to do, right? It kills most guardians in one hit. Of course, supers is a little bit harder. If you're looking to take down another player in the super, it's best to do a single light melee attack and then immediately follow up with the heavy attack, or vice versa. Now, I'm not sure if this Sentinel right here has Masterworks armor, but I hit him for 82 with the light melee attack and then 120 with the heavy attack. I saw a lot of other people rocking Spectral Blades today that were getting killed by other people in their supers, and it was simply because they were trying to spam out with that light melee attack, kind of like a Blade Dancer would. So make sure you hit them with a heavy attack as well as a light melee attack to finish them off in 2 hits. Now, the most noticeable thing about all of this, outside of just the hit registration just being overall better, is the reduction in the light melee attacks and the decrease in super drain when you're in stealth state. Guys, that super lasts for so long. Again, there's no exotics at play here. Gwizin's Vest is not on. This is me by myself. And this super was able to stay with me from one end of the map to the other. And one great thing about this super that I like over hammers is that when you get to the very end and you squeeze off one more attack, it doesn't just stop you mid-attack. I'm so used to that with hammers where you're like, got your hammer reared back, you're about to throw it, and Bungie pulls a Houdini on us, and our hammer's gone, which normally results in us getting killed immediately afterwards. Spectral Blades, one thing I liked about this super today was I would get down to almost no super. Like, you could hardly see the yellow. I would squeeze out one more attack, and it would still get the kill. Another thing I really liked as well was the fact that he was able to get multi-kills in one swipe. Like, one swipe in a general direction of a couple enemies will actually hit them all. So overall, guys, this class actually has one of the best neutral games in Destiny right now. Flawless execution is amazing for you to essentially get the best wall hacks in the game. I really like the corrosive smoke. As you can see here from the gameplay, I'm using a sidearm, and nothing goes better with the sidearm than some smoke. Plant that on a shotgunner's forehead, and he is done for. So you already had very good neutral game. This super is really good, and I'm really surprised. because I was under the impression I wasn't going to like this super. I had stated that Blade Dancer needed blink in order for it to be mobile and actually close the gap on enemies. And not that this super couldn't utilize something like blink, but the wall hacks that you get when you're in stealth, as well as the damage resistance that you get, is all around top tier now. So I would highly suggest trying it out. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.